This episode is brought to you by Platinum Black. So, what is Platinum Black? Who are they? What do they do? They're a strategic marketing and advertising consultancy for teams who already know what they're doing, but want a partner who can help them move faster and think bigger. I'm obviously a fan. I got this not because they're a sponsor. This is from the time I spent freelancing with them. So I've worked inside their process. I know their people. Their executive creative director is someone that I've respected for years. The managing director is smart, focused, competitive in all the right ways, even down to the most junior account people and creatives that I've worked with. This is a team with serious brain power and zero ego, just good people doing good work. They specialize in working alongside in-house teams to unlock growth, clarify strategy, and make creative that actually drives results. So if that sounds like your kind of partner, visit platinumblack.com. And now, here's the show. This is Let's Bring It In, the podcast about creative leaders doing great work in-house. I'm Greg Christensen. My guest today is Adam Koppel. He's a creative leader with what I think is a pretty amazing and rare career arc. He started out as a stand-up comedian, and he ended up going to places like Wieden+Kennedy, Tokyo, Anomaly, 72 and Sunny, and he had a major chapter building a new agency with some friends, Camp and King, and then shifted into tech, including time at Google, Microsoft, and he helped launch the creative department at OpenAI. In this conversation, Adam's going to break down what happens when you stop chasing the perfect career ladder and start chasing what's genuinely interesting. We're going to talk about why tech is a uniquely hard category to communicate, what it means to make the extraordinary feel ordinary, and Adam's simple, practical framework for surviving this business. Start every project by asking, what's the value of this? Whether you're building in-house, partnering with agencies, or just trying to keep your creative head on straight, I think you're going to love this episode. Let's bring it in. Adam Koppel, welcome to Let's Bring It In. I'm really glad that you're here. Thanks for making the time to do this. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. My pleasure. Happy.
Yeah. So, Adam, you've had a career that a lot of creatives, I think, would recognize immediately and frankly be jealous of. You've worked at Wieden, Anomaly, 72 and Sunny. These are top agencies, strong creative chops, and then a pretty deliberate move, I think, in-house, including some time at OpenAI as well as, tech giants like Google and Microsoft. Walk us through your journey. I'd love to hear, from top traditional shops to some of the biggest tech companies in the world. How did this all happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, trying to figure out how far back to go. I mean, I think the most important thing that kind of makes it not seem like a jump is I never went to ad school. I didn't know what a copywriter was. That it wasn't the plan. Like I was 22. I lived in New York. I was doing improv comedy at Upright Citizens Brigade, and I was a second grade special ed teacher during the day. And that was my thing. I was gonna give it a few years to try to be a comedian, do that whole thing. And if that didn't work out, I was going to go back to school for psychology and be a child psychologist and use like humor and theater to help kids. Like that was the plan.
Yeah.
The night before I was about to take my GREs, a dude at Mad Dogs and Englishmen, this guy, Michael Reich, who passed away recently, amazing, creative, saw me doing a show and he was like, oh, you'd be a good copywriter. You should come tomorrow. And so I skipped the GREs. I didn't show up. I went to his office instead. I was in a suit. I had no idea. I was like, I don't know what a copywriter is. I don't know what advertising is. And basically he was like, just sit here, write sketches, write a 60-second sketch about a storage company. And I was like, I can write a sketch. I can do that. And he was like, great, that's a commercial. And like, he went to a meeting, we sold it, and then we went and made it. Like it just all happened really quickly. But the thing was, he was like, don't write a commercial, write a sketch. Don't write a billboard, write a joke. Like everything was just, don't make ads, make something worth consuming. So that's how I got into it. So it was never like, I never even understood agency, KPI, API. Like none of that was in my world. I went to writing for 4 or 5 years and then started kind of learning that stuff. And then the part of that, like, yeah, those are great shops. Obviously I feel really blessed to have worked there, but I also helped open a place called Camp and King in San Francisco that's still around now with Roger Camp and Jamie King. And that was like, it went from like 3 people to 60. And that's basically an in-house. It's the same thing. You're building, who do we need? When do we need them? What do we put our money on? What do we put our time on? What do we put our heart on? What sacrifices we make? Where do you find value? and you have to build culture and work at the same time. And so I did that for like 3 years, and it was amazing. And then I did like Wieden Tokyo and around. I did my whole world travel thing.
How did Tokyo happen, by the way? Because I mean, that's a jump in itself, right?
So it's all going to tie up. I'm gonna close this loop up.
Huh.
But like when Camden King started, I had like offer in hand to go to Wieden Portland. Like it was signed. I was ready to go. And then Roger calls me. He's like, dude, Jamie and I are in an agency. You and Rakesh are employee 1 and 2. You got to come do this. So I called Susan Hoffman and Mark Fitzlove. And I was like, hey, are you going to like blacklist me if I don't do this? I don't know what to do. What should I do? I was like 28 or 30. And like, they were like, and they knew Roger, and they were like, you have to do that. Like, don't come here. Like, you can always make ads. You can always do this thing. You don't get to open an agency very often.
Wow.
Especially with your friends. And so they're like, you have to do that. Go do that. Like, offer rescinded. Like, no worries.
Huh.
And I was like, okay, great. And so that kind of set this thing of like, I need to do things that are surprising, things that are different, and don't feel like the end result can't be, I'm going to make a great ad. Because that's not how I started. I didn't start that way. I didn't go to ad school. It wasn't ever like, how do I make a great ad? It was how do I make a joke? How do I make a sketch? And then it wasn't, how do I get to Wieden and make big Nike spots? It was, how do I do something different, which is open an agency, build culture, learn how to do that. And so did that for like 3 years. And then Wieden came back in. I had got married, and they were like, what if you went to Tokyo, creative director on Nike? So it was the exact same conversation that I had with Jamie and Roger. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like we built the shop. We were like 45, 45 people. Like it was my home. They were my friends, my family. And they're both like, you got to do that. You got like, when else will you get a chance to not just work at Wieden, but work on Nike and get someone to like bring you to Tokyo and experience that? And so it was like, all right, of course I have to do that. It wasn't like, oh, I go get to work on Nike. It was like, that's unique. And then that kind of fueled every decision that I did. Like when I went to like Amsterdam, it was the same thing. So I was like, oh, I hadn't done Europe. When I went to London with Anomaly, it was kind of a global role, and I hadn't done that. So now full circle. So it wasn't just like, oh, let's go in-house.
Yeah.
Those words didn't mean anything to me. In-house, agency, this, that, ad, billboard. It's just opportunity and what's interesting. And so when this guy, Fight Muller, said, hey, and this was 2.5, 3 years ago almost, like, he said, would you want to come do this at OpenAI with me? And it was small then. It was like only 1,000 employees. They had like only like 15 people in the design department. And I literally was like, I remember talking to a friend, like, I don't know what OpenAI is. Who is that? This is 2023, 24 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, they make ChatGPT. And I was like, I don't like that. And so there was nothing with like in-house. It was just like, and he was just like, we're trying to build something. We don't know what it is. Want to come and try that? And I'm like, that sounds cool. So it wasn't really like all right, now's the time to go in-house. You know, it was the same thing where it's like, it wasn't like, oh, well, now's the time to leave America and go to Tokyo. It wasn't like, all these decisions were just sort of like, what is something that's more interesting than an ad? Building an agency is more interesting than making an ad. Joining a startup, you know, joining a company in a whole new sector of AI, that's more interesting than an ad. So that's kind of what has fueled the choices.
I mean, that's to me, that's amazing, because I grew up, I mean, I did go to ad school, you know, and so much of my network is, here's the trajectory. I'm going to be a copywriter or an art director. I'm going to go work at the best shop I can. Hopefully I'll get to do TV at some point, and then I'll be a creative director, and then I'll be a group creative director, ECD. But what you're talking about to me, and maybe this is just in retrospect, but it sounds so much more interesting. So my question is, like, is that just an attitude, or is that something you can teach? Like, can you look at a senior level copywriter and say, here's how to not do this rat race, or here's how to just kind of reframe your thinking?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, like, I feel like I was really lucky. Like, I was just lucky. And like, I think you can teach people to like appreciate what they're doing a little more and realize like the end goal isn't like writer, AZD, CD, GCD, ECD. Like, regardless of like, I just was surrounded by really interesting people. There's this guy, Paul Mimiaga. who's like kind of a Hal Rennie classic San Francisco guy. He was Hal Rennie's like writing, and he was like my CD, but he refused to ever have the title of CD. He never wanted to be the boss. He was just like, I just want to write, because he loved it. And it's like I was kind of always surrounded by people like that in the industry who didn't play that game.
Yeah.
And I think we learned this in Camp King. Like, I think what you can teach people is you have to find value in everything, especially in advertising, because it's like an unthankful beast of a gig. Like,
Yeah.
so like, and that's what I mean by this. So it's like everything you do has value. And you don't have to be all like hippy dippy bad or whatever. Like, I really do think like if you change your thinking from like, oh my God, I have to do this spot, to like, oh, I get to write this. This is great. Like, I don't have to like haul bricks today. Like, so if you take joy in writing and coming up with ideas and joy in working with people, like some of that joy has been taken away from COVID, from people, from attitudes, from everything, where it's like, I remember like back when I started, like you'd hang out doing a pitch all night, doing your thing. I didn't care if we won the pitch. I was having so much fun with my friends coming up with ideas. Like, it could have stopped there and I would have been happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't see some of that much anymore. And so I think it's on younger people, but also like CDs and bosses and everyone to like be really honest about the value of every project. Not every project's going to win you a line. Not every project's going to make a lot of money. Not every project's going to be fun. But every project has value. So it's like the value of this project might be, we're going to make money and the agency's going to stay open. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you do a bad job, but it's like, maybe you don't put your heart and soul into it and have your very being judged by the creative. You're like, I'm getting it done. You know, I'm like dishwasher. I'm cleaning this up. Like, that's the value. And that value is just as important as like, this one ain't going to make us money. You're going to have to work all night, but it's going to feel real good. You know what I mean? That's your soul one. Or the value, if you're higher up, might not be, it might be, you know what? It's not making us a ton of money. It's not great work, but it's, you know, doing its job. The value is it's training my juniors of what to do on a shoot. There's value. So it's like what we started doing Camp K, and I still do it now. Anytime I open a brief, I'm like, what's the value of this? The value might be, I'm building a new relationship. I'm working with new people. Work might be shit. Money might be great, but you know what? I'm building a nice relationship, so the next one might be better. The value is, this is just super fun to write. The value is, they're paying me a lot of money today. The value is, this is the best work I've ever done. The value is, I get to hang out with friends today and do this. And be honest. You know, and be like, all of those values are equal and they all have a part to play in your career. And I think the more honest you can be with assigning something value before you start, the less frustrated and dissatisfied you get. Because you're not like, oh, God, they killed my idea. Oh, this isn't perfect. Like, I think that's when our creators check out. And that's when these people, that's when you get into the rat race. Because you think, oh, as soon as I'm a CD, I'll get to do the good work. Well, as soon as I'm an ECD, I'll get to talk to the client and fight the work I want. Like, and that's not true. Like, going up the ladder of the rat race, if you think the only value in our job is like, I make cool shit, no title's going to change that.
Yeah.
But if you change the value and then be satisfied with it, you know, great. I made a lot of money on this one. Cool. I've made some great friends. Great. Hey, I won a lion. Great. You know, like, they all have worth. And I think that was the big realization I'm kind of had of the Camp King. And that's what I try to keep doing.
Yeah.
And I try to like instill in people I work with.
Yeah. What's your relationship to award shows? Because this is an industry where, you know, like I said, like, because you have, I mean, you've got a broader perspective, I think. But so, you know, yeah, it's awesome to win a Cannes Lion, but I'd like to hear your take on that.
Look, maybe my work isn't that good. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe I don't enter the right way. I'm not a well-awarded creator. Like, I don't like, I'll go to some creators and maybe I'm just like shit at the PR and the promotion. I'll go to some people's sites and they're just like, awards, and like, and sometimes you're like, you wrote like Mom's Mantle. Like, they list every single thing that it was in and every award. And I'm like, I don't know. But also, like, I'm a little soured on them, I think, again, because like when you working at an independent shop, in a startup shop, when Roger, Jamie, Rakesh, and I were doing that thing, like, award shows are expensive, man. Like, that's a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the things that win aren't worth it. They're not valid. They're amazing. They're beautiful. Like, but it's just like, if you're I remember like MK, we had this moment where we were pitching Del Taco, and literally we're sitting there on milk crates, and we're like, do we get a freelance designer for the pitch, or do we buy chairs? Like, it was a legit question.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if we don't win the pitch, we don't need the chairs, so I guess let's get the freelancer. Like, when you're, and I'm saying it's like, oh, woe is us, but like, when you have real things happening, you're not like, well, let's enter this same spot in 12 categories and spend $120,000 doing it and fly 6 people down and like invest 80 hours of man hours to make the right videos and things like this. And, you know, again, I'm not saying it's just like smart submissions win, smart work wins.
Yeah.
But the right submission strategy doesn't hurt. And that's man hours, that's time. And I've just kind of never been in the place that does that much. And so I just have been like, all right, maybe they're not for me. So I feel like they're important. I think it's good. I think it's nice to have some sort of like, I don't mind if it's all like patting ourselves on the back and it's like so are Oscars and Academy Awards and shit like this. Like, it's nice for an industry to have moments where they like praise each other. So I like that. You know, I think it's nice, but I've just never been that. And look, hey, when I was 28 or something like this, if my first ad won like a cube or some titanium or shit, maybe I'd be the spokesperson for Lions. But as it stands, I'm kind of like, I don't know if they are the beginning and end all of everything.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the places you've been and the work that you've been doing. So you've been at real, traditional agencies. You've been at OpenAI, done work for Microsoft, Google. Is doing creative work inside a tech company different from working on tech brands at an ad agency?
Yes.
How so?
Tech is weird and hard. Like, everyone wants to like, it's like, oh, it's like a Nike. Like, you always want to find an analog. Tech is tricky in general because you immediately, I guess in almost everything of this, but like, everyone understands sports. Like, you can go deep on running or just running, but it's like everyone understands athletics.
Yeah.
So it's not saying Nike's easy. It's really fucking hard. But like, you still have the decision of, do I go like devoted athlete that knows every nuance or just the starter athlete? There's still the audience choice. Same thing with the coffee. Do I just have morning coffee or am I a drip nerd? You know, how deep do you go is always the attitude you have to choose that product. Tech is harder because the lines are different. Like, take AI as an extreme example, but like, am I talking to my mom or are we talking to us where it's like, hey, this is just another service and an app and things which AI are going to use and it's about the personality of it and things and just basic utility? Or am I getting into like TPUs and models and things? And like, how deep are you going? And the deeper you go in tech, not only the more confusing it gets, the scarier it gets. Because you're like, oh, wait, even just like searching clouds, things like, oh, my data, everyone can see it. Like, you start getting into like security, Terminator, like you start getting into scary places when you get deeper into tech. When you get deeper into coffee or running, it's not scary. It's just like, well, they seem like nerds. You know what I mean? But you get deep into AI, you get deep into cloud, you get deep into search, you get deep into tech. It starts feeling it's tricky. So that in general as a category makes it a challenge to know, be very smart about what audience you're after and how deep you're going. And therein lies, I think, the difference and challenge with making work at an agency for tech and an in-house for tech. And this might just be a lot of tech companies in-house do a lot, but I feel like their strategy departments are kind of lagging sometimes. I think and this is also, I can geek out on this. Agencies need ways to bill. You can bill through creative, you can bill through production, you can bill through whatever, you can build project management, and you can build through strategy. So strategy is like a line item that like adds revenue to an agency. So it's very important whether it's bullshit or not, to staff up properly with comm strategists, messaging strategists, really smart strategists, do really smart, good research to understand the product and the audience, and then where it can fit in their lives before creatives can get a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it makes them money, but it
Yeah.
also makes better work. When you're client side, there's less of that. There's less strategy on that side, and some of the strategies sometimes skewed because they're kind of in the machine. So it's hard for them to take that step back. And so I think when that and then gets the creative, you're a little like creative and strategist at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're agency side on tech, you are just like, all right, let's make it interesting, let's make it beautiful, let's make it good, let's be creative. I think when you're client side on tech, you have to be a little more strategist and creative.
That's it. Well, I mean, would in-house, or in your experience, do in-house places, companies, do they have strategists and creatives, or do they just, do they, here's another way to ask that. The places where you've been, have they run like agencies? Like have they had writers, art directors, strategists, and it's basically just, it's an agency, it's just within the company?
Some have, to certain levels. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never worked at Airbnb, but from what I've heard, they have the most developed in-house department where it's just like, it is proper agency model. Like it's like an agency within it. And it's almost like media arts lab, in a way. It's like, is that in-house? Kind of. Like they only do Apple, so I guess it's in-house, but I don't know who the billing goes to. But like OpenAI is different because it was being built from scratch. I think they will ultimately follow the agency model where you have all the right players. Depending on what part of Google you're in, they have it to a different amount. Like Google Creative Labs, obviously they're an in-house agency, and they still adopt the same model. So I think the ones that are more developed have it. I think the ones that are building it, places like Microsoft is building it, OpenAI is building it, like divisions of Google are building it. Like they're behind because it's a decision of who do you bring in first. Do you bring creatives first, strategists first? Like you can't build a 30-person agency at once. So you have to figure out who you're getting. And I think that's where it starts lacking. I think the interesting thing will be, like, look, I'm an old dude. Like I remember back in the day, agencies, like even media companies were kind of special. You know what I mean? Like agencies had their own media companies. Like agencies did everything because there wasn't that much to do. It was like print, out of home, TV, buy some media.
Yeah.
And so you just went to one place and they did it all. And then suddenly you're like, there's an agency, there's a digital agency, there's a social agency, there's a media agency,
there's influencers, there's
you know what I mean? And it's hard for the business because now it's all project based. The ways agencies make money has gotten smaller. Everything's parsed out. And so even forget in-house or anything. If you were to open an agency today, would you be a boutique? You say, hey, look, we're just your writing firepower, or we're just a design shop, or we're just smart comm strategy. We're going to tell you to place things. Or would you try to do everything? And I think when you look at in-house, they're struggling with that because they're like, what parts do we parse out? So I think it's the same challenge that agency would have, honestly, when these in-house places do it. And I think it's just probably project by project, different parts feel the pain. You're like, oh God, if we had more comm strategists on this, it would be easier. Or like, oh shit, they don't have enough designers, or oh man, we just don't have enough writers, or there's not enough project managers. So it's crazy. Like, so, or there's not the right relationship between us and media. They came too late. So I think it's just in-house needs to figure out, like, I don't think I need to try to get back to your question. It's not about like, is it the agency model or not? I think they have to, it's hard because like if you were open a shop from scratch, you'd have to decide really quickly, like, what kind of shop are we?
Yeah.
And maybe we can't do it all. So what are we going to do?
Well, to that point, some of the places where you've worked, either agency side or in-house, have you seen agencies partnering with in-house, or I should say, have you seen in-house creative services saying we can't do this much, so we got to get a design shop, or we got to get a agency, or have you seen that kind of collaboration, and what's that look like?
Yeah, I've seen it in a lot of different ways. Like, um, I mean, there's so many good examples. Like, I mean, like obviously there's like Nike and Wieden,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then Nike, Wieden, RGA. You know, they brought RGA in when like Wieden didn't have as much design and digital. Like, and they all like played together.
Mm-hmm.
Apple, Chiat became Media Arts Lab. Like, that was a thing. From my own experience, like when I was at Anomaly, I was doing Google. So I was doing like Android and Pixel,
Mm-hmm.
and they had some brilliant in-house creative directors, like global creative directors, who were so cool and so smart, and they were like partners. You were like, this is great. I got a buddy in there. They like, it was like their role was like, hey, look, we're Google, we're hard, we're complicated, we got a lot of politics, and maybe I just left out the right people, but like they were basically like, we're gonna help. They had a shared goal of like, we're gonna make great work, but they understood the politics and things and how, like the dumb shit, like what should a deck look like, how much information. They would help you navigate the waters.
Mm.
And so I think that relationship could be great, because let's say, you know, you're a client and you just don't have enough firepower, creative firepower, but you know your politics well, you know how to sell your execs well, you know it works, you know it doesn't, like you have the institutional knowledge to help good work go through that an agency might take 6 months to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can truly partner up and be like, we got this, you got that, and like there's a lot of great shops that have firepower there, great firepower. And so I was really lucky at Anomaly London. That was my relationship with Google. So I was client side, and then I was agency side into this.
Yeah.
Um, and then it can go the other way. Like you just have to define the rules. Like right now, I just finished a Google project, and there's a production company called Entropico who's been amazing
Uh-huh.
with us, and they're like creative partners, and you truly just partner. I I think it works when you just have to kill that agency client nomenclature. It
Yeah.
just needs to be like, again, value, ascribe value. Let's all share and agree on the value. From agency side to client side, like maybe you guys all say, hey, look, this is our chance, client side, inside, to make something amazing. Let's all do it together. Or like, hey guys, let's all agree. This isn't going to be the one that we're like putting on the fridge, but it's got to be great. It's got to be tight. It's got to be clean. Let's figure it out. Or, hey, look, if we all make this one really tight and well organized and stay on budget and make it smooth and make it easy, execs will then give us more money. We'll have more opportunity next time. If everyone agrees on the value at the beginning, agency, and then you work towards it together,
Yeah.
it's unstoppable. It just takes a level of honesty, you
Yeah.
know, at the start of it. And I think that's lacking. I think that's I'm sorry, now I'm just reaching. I think that's where
That's,
agency, in-house, client things, those things fall apart. Agencies sometimes like, well, let's just tell them what they need to hear in the meeting. Let's put in that thing. Oh, no, totally get the product. No, we're going to KPI sales. And then they're like, oh, let's sell the crazy shit. And then the client's like, well, we don't want to bum them out. We don't want them to feel like it's no hope. And we don't want them to get frustrated. And we want them to keep, I've heard it so many times, clients be like, well, we don't want to like say no or like kill ideas because we don't want them to like stop caring and not working. It's like, guys, we're getting paid. We're going to keep working. Like, and so they're like, no, it's great. Everything, it was a great meeting. Everything went, it's going, we just got to make one little tweak. It's like, no, in truth, y'all hated it. It was a failure. We need to start over. Fine. And there's just that lack of shared value and honesty between the two that each side thinks is helping. It's like,
yeah.
oh, like we got to protect them from themselves, and they don't want good work until they see it. So we got to protect them from themselves. And this, I think, oh, well, we don't want them to get burned out and have to do all the logos and RTBs and blah, blah, blah. And so they hide it. And then you keep butting heads, going round after round. And then finally, they just, well, you're making shit work. And they're like, well, you're not talking about it. And you're like, just agree at the beginning what the value is and build it
Yeah.
together. And no one gets frustrated.
I feel like so much of that is cultural. Is there I mean, and obviously I think sometimes people just click, you just start working together and that's how it is. If do you have any advice for people who are not in that relationship but need to be in that relationship?
Find your buddy. There's always someone. And empathy. It sounds so cheesy, but like I had this guy, Go Wakamoto, really brilliant strategist, great guy, smart guy. And he was, this was at Wieden, and his goal was to work at Nike Beaverton. Like, that's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But he first got a gig to work at Nike Tokyo, because he's like Japanese American, and that's kind of that. And so I was at Wieden Tokyo as a creative director. He was basically like, look, I'm doing this because I want to get to Beaverton. And I'm like, well, I'm doing this because I want to make great work. Like, and the problem was, at the time, Tokyo, the Wieden Tokyo office, the Nike Tokyo office was very safe. They didn't want to do independent work. They didn't want things like, all right, well, just give us the playbook, give us the things, and we'll kind of version to that. We'll put subtitles. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I didn't come to Tokyo just to put subtitles on Portland spots. I want to make stuff, you know? I want to understand the culture and make things that are interesting and try. And Go was like, I'm not going to, you know, get to Beaverton and grow by just being like doing the same thing. So he and I had a shared creative goal, mm-hmm. you know, not to abandon things, but like, and he was my guy. And you know, you know, my account manager, Ryan Johnson, he was part of it. And the three of us, like, we were all just like, let's go. So I think it's just like, find your buddy and like understand, like, and don't be afraid to ask. Like, also like, have a little empathy. Like, it's hard in tech. It's real cutthroat. It's real political. It's real weird in those halls. Like, there's a lot of equity. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of things. Like, people really need to stay. Like, it's a tough world, and people know each other. Like, it's a tricky place, and like, people are people. Like, people are afraid to get fired. They're afraid of their jobs. They want to do better. They want to do, like, no one wants to make bad work. No one wants to make something shitty. And I think agency people sometimes like fall in on that. And I think if the advice is like, just take a moment and try to understand that person's motivation. Maybe their motivation is fear, and they're legitimately afraid they're going to lose their job. So help them not lose their job. Like, be like, can I help you make your decks tighter? Like, what can I do? Or why are you afraid? Okay, you know what? Let's not push so hard on the creative the first thing. Let's make sure your boss understands we can come in on a budget, and this is why, and then we'll get more later. Or maybe they're like just super motivated by fame in a good way, mm-hmm. you know? Maybe and you're like, okay, well, look, man, let's make something flashy. Like, we have more in common with each other than everyone thinks. And I think you just got to establish that. Again, it goes back to value. Ascribe the value of a project, and then share it, and then get there together. And it just find that one person, write them on the side. Like, I remember, like, it's like, you know, don't overboard. If you're like a junior intern, don't start writing the CMO. But like, I remember like, I remember when I finally reached a point as a CD or somewhere where like, I didn't need like explicit permission to write the client, like, just on my own. And you don't want to overdo it, because it is a kind of a move. But I remember, like, I was like, I'm just going to write them a note. And just be like, hey man, what's going on? Like, well, that meeting was really stressful. Something's happening behind the scenes that I want, like, what's up? Mm-hmm. And you can make that connection and then be like, great, well, let's help. And then good work comes, or at least better work that is less painful.
Just out of curiosity, your buddies that were in Tokyo, where are they today?
Go opened a business. I'm not sure what he's up to now. Everyone went to do cool shit, man. I was part of a rad little crew. Like, Ryan Johnson is now at EA client side. I saw him last night. He's down for the Super Bowl. One of the smartest dudes ever. Like, so good. He's at EA doing like video games, college football. Interesting guy too. You should write him up. Same dude. He was at like Wieden for 14 years, and now he's in-house at EA and loves it. Greg White was our comp strategist. Just one of the smartest dudes ever. He is now lead strategist at On, the shoe running thing, off to Zurich to do that. Mikey Farr was the ECD. He went to ECD at Amsterdam 72, super strong, funny, great guy. Everyone's names for him. The CEO, I forget his name, just incredibly handsome, smart. talented jerk of a guy. Like he just the nicest, most human, smart. He speaks like 5 languages. He went off to like LVMH to work on that. Like everyone kind of went off, not particularly like client side, but just went off to like do things interesting. Maria Hanafi was a strategist. She went off to do like B companies and things. Like everyone went off, not again like I'm going to leave agencies, but went to go find opportunities. And I don't know if it was because we were all predisposed to it. We were all working in Tokyo together. But I think we would always have these talks where it's like, this is so fun. This is like going to school. This is like an anthropology class.
Yeah.
Making an ad in Tokyo because you're like, I gotta learn. Like, and so everyone kind of went off to do things that weren't brief chasing, client chasing, but just, well, that seems interesting, which is rad.
Yeah. Let me ask, one of the things, as I've talked with people who are in-house or have gone in-house, one of the things that often changes is kind of how success is defined. We talked a little bit about awards and we talked about, a few other things, but in your experience, does success get measured differently in-house than it does at agencies?
I think so.
Yeah.
And again,
does that change the way you look at the work?
I mean, I don't know if I have the best in-house track record. Like I was only OpenAI for a year and a half, and then I'm just kind of like a hired gun at these other places. But like,
yeah.
And none of this is judgment. It's like for better, for worse. For better, for worse, in the ad world, as a creative, you are only as good as your last ad.
Yeah.
Like unless you did Cadbury Gorilla and Old Spice. Do you know what I mean? Like unless you're like you just fucking hit it out of the park every time. Like and it's weird because like I've always felt in my career, I'm like, I'm okay, I'm doing all right. And then you make a good ad, and then suddenly every headhunter, everyone writes you, and you're like the belle of the ball. You're like you're pretty again. And then like 6 months go by, and no one, and you couldn't get an interview saved your life. Like it's just you're and even within the halls of your own shop, like you crush it on a brief, you crush in a pitch, you win a pitch. Suddenly everyone's like, oh, I want him on the brief. You're like swagging those halls, and then you go quiet for a bit. You don't sell stuff. You go dark, and suddenly you're not the pretty team anymore. You're not the sexy team. Like, and that's hard. That's a bummer. And that's weird. But it means, again, I'm just going to keep going back to value. It means that you are then forced to put creative success as the key value to everything you do, when that's not always possible. And so success in the agency world is make a great spot.
Yeah.
Make a great campaign. Like, and like great meaning press, again, like most meaning press, awards, fame. Hard for people to like, well, it wasn't those things, but you really did train that crew. You did like keep lights on. Like that doesn't get like praised at agencies much.
Yeah.
So that's how you rise up. I did this. I think in-house it's different because I think it's a lot more risk averse. I think that it's less about like those one-offs. Like what I've noticed is it's more important to show longevity and like stability in-house. Like taking those really big swings in-house, like taking those really big swings at a shop, worth it. Because even if it doesn't sell, you kind of get credit for being like, oh, that was a ballsy script to show. That was like good attitude. Like, you kind of, even if you don't sell the work, but you went for it every time. Cool. If you do that in-house, those look like failures, not like courage and risk and attitude. And you need enough clear successes on the client side to stay and keep your money, keep your equity, keep your stock, and that's important, and to rise up. And so I think you get people that are slightly more risk averse, and it's like sometimes less like we're all together on it. Because I think if people see like a sinking ship or a problem or risk, they might be like, I'm going to contract my name on that. And so I think success in agency is going for it and the work, or at least the attempt of the work. And I think while the work is just as important in-house, I do think people value a little more of the like patient, slow. It's much more patient. I remember someone was telling me this, like even if it goes super, even if like things happen super fast, it's way slower on the client side because it's a little more risk averse. Like agent side, we're just like, oh, let's make blah, 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 blah. There it's like, okay, well, let's another meeting, because you want to make sure like it doesn't blow up. So things go a lot slower. You have to be a lot more patient because you need that stability.
Do you think there's a level of creative maturity that goes with that? Because when the creative directors that I talk who are in-house, they tend to be like you. I mean, they've got a really good track record. And I wonder if, in-house companies, one of the nice things about bringing someone with some creative maturity into the role is they know when to take those big swings. They know when not to. They know when to do really, really good work. It may not be award level, mind-blowing work, but it's still really, really good work. And I think it takes some experience in the industry to know when to do what. Does that make any sense?
Oh, totally. I mean, like we used to back at Kim King, Roger used to always like we everyone has their own little buckets for people. Like ours was like solvers and surprisers. Like sometimes you need someone to solve the problem, and sometimes you need people to surprise. Surprisers, 8 out of 10 things they make you could never show because they're just bonkers. But those two are like are amazing. Solvers always do good work, but it's never going to like blow you away. And sometimes you have somebody that can like be one day and the other. Like those are rare. But then I think you need managers and people who are like, who do I deploy when? And it's almost the same thing with yourself. Like, and I think that's what makes more seasoned creatives and people who've been around longer and better managers because they know what side to deploy. Hey, look, today we just got to solve it or we got to push. But I also think it comes with experience, it comes with maturity, it also comes with time. Like I'm saying all this shit, but like I've also had my boondoggles. I've had my shoots in Cape Town. I've been to the Bahamas and scuba dived on a TV spot for no reason. Like, I've sold the scripts that made no sense because I thought it'd be cool to like melt crayons or shit. Like I've played, you know what I mean? Like you have to, that's why we get into it. That's why creators, you get to be like baby filmmakers for like a day. You get to be like amateur poets for an hour. You get, you get to like work with like the best directors when you have no business to like, and so that level of like being selfish and just getting an idea is important. It feels good. It's fun. You learn a lot and you kind of got to do it. Yeah. And then, cause right now, like, you get to a point in your career, you're like, I remember it was like, you kill to get on a shoot. Oh my God, I get to go to LA. I get to stay at Shutters. I want to craft service. Someone's bringing me a smoothie. Like you feel like a rock star. You're 24 and suddenly like people are like, it's the coolest thing ever. And then you get old and you're like, oh my God, like, look at there's a helicopter on the thing I wrote. And then like, and it's intoxicating and it's addicting. And you do start being like, well, I'm open on a beach. Like I could get to go to Paris with a shoot. Like, and that's good because it's good. But like you do it. And then like, I'm now at a point where it's like, I love a shoot. I'll go, I love an edit. Like, of course. But you're like, all right, well, I've done that. Now I'm interested in how do I respond to culture better? Or how do I build a department? Or this person seems bummed out. How do I get them excited again? Like, it's just time,
Yeah. When you were at OpenAI, were you involved in developing the department? Were you part of building the culture? I mean, what was the creative department like when you were there, and what was your role with it?
Yeah, part of a lot with Mike Muller, who was the first kind of started it and was building the design department. When I came in, there were no writers. It was, I feel like my role there was groundwork and like trust. Like we weren't like, how many writers do we need? It wasn't like staffing up department. It was, you gotta remember, this is seems it's like 2004. Like the 2 years in the AI world is crazy. Like,
yeah,
it at the time, OpenAI was still like, are we a research company or are we a consumer company? Like, are we like MIT Labs? Are we Google DeepMind? Do we just make tech to solve the world's problems and the products are a byproduct? that we use to like fund ourselves or like, demonstrate the tech. Is ChatGPT just an example of what an LLM could do, not a product? Or are we Apple? Are we making products, selling prizes? I think if you talk to people about it, they like Google, they're going to say, well, we're both. We're DeepMind and we're search. Fair. This is like, I got in like a couple months after the whole SAN ousting thing and all that stuff. So I don't know much about that, but it was a time that division of, are we MIT Labs and Google DeepMind, or are we Apple and like a product company, was very tense and very real. And everyone felt like it kind of, well, to those who weren't, it felt like it could go either way. Who knows and that was interesting. So when things are like that, and so imagine that scenario. And so suddenly people are going, advertising, billboards, TV, like we're DeepMind, we're labs. Why would you ever need marketing? When I got in, I was the only copywriter. People were like, why do we need a copywriter? Isn't that what we made ChatGPT for? like it was like, I got burned because they were like, let's just get people used to the idea of like creatives.
Yeah.
And bringing a little bit of thought or idea or whatever background to the design. So when we started doing content, some of the first stuff we made was for the O series, 4.0 and things like that. And they were just like real simple docus of people using them and weren't nice, but like it was getting people even used to the idea of like, well, we're going to shoot someone. Like, oh, just with your phone, right? You can just turn your phone and do it. Like, no, we're going to have a production value, but not so much production value that's fake. Like getting people just used to the idea of content.
Yeah.
And are we even a company that makes content? Who do we make it for? What does it look like? How far is this? That was the world I was in when I first started.
Yeah.
As I left, they brought in some great people and they brought in CMOs and things. And they were like, okay, well, now we're going to make ads. Like it was then decided that like, yes, this is okay to do. We will embrace true content and true marketing because we are comfortable being a consumer brand and making products. That decision when I was there was still felt fuzzy. And when it's fuzzy, you have to be really respectful of it. And so the job wasn't, let's build a department, let's build culture, let's build a brand. It was, let's demonstrate the content is okay. That we can talk to normal people and share values and have a personality without being car salesmen and without losing our research and engineering DNA.
Yeah. I think the work that I've seen on TV, at least, it's really pretty good and it's super simple.
Great.
It's like I think like a guy doing pull-ups or something or at a pull-up bar, and then it just shows the whole chat and it's like a product demo, but I totally get it,
Totally. Yeah, it's super strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like simple framing, like Judith, like, using old school Apple.
Yeah.
Build some brand, build some equity, and I think, that was some of the last work I was a part of, like, just like logo, ChatGPT, surround the moment with the thing. There's an old Google lab mantra that I just steal every day that someone told me about, like, and this is back when they were making like Parisian Love and Dear Sophie, like golden days of like tech advertising. And their whole strategy was make the extraordinary ordinary. The things that tech does is amazing. You can launch a rocket ship from your phone. You use it to play video games. It's like, if we were to tell people how truly extraordinary AI is, mass panic. But this notion of like remember, like, Parisian Love, the search spot with Google, and like, that was all demo. It was just a demo. And if you were to be like, okay, this is the true power of the internet and search, people would be like confused and scared. But it was like, no, we're just gonna make it ordinary. It's just an ordinary story of a boy, like, falling in love. Oldest story in the world. So make something that's extraordinary, really ordinary. And so it feels like it's every day. It feels like it's always been here. And that was kind of the strategy with that work. And kind of, I think, something that I always thought was nice about what OpenAI is trying to do is, what if we make it feel like AI has kind of always been here? It's not new. It's not scary. It's not this crazy thing. It's not like as extraordinary. Oh my God. It's like, it's just a welcome part of life and it's here. And, make the extraordinary ordinary. Just make it feel like something you do. And then that kind of like helps make the demos feel natural. It makes it human, and reduces like fear. And so hopefully helps adoption.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting way to think about tech as well. And I think they're doing a good job. I mean, you're catching me at an interesting time because Anthropic put out those ads recently. So it's going to be, the next dude, I'm tangentially part of it all, but like, it's going to be a wild next 3 months because everyone's picking their lanes. Anthropic is coming out swinging, and that's Mother. So that's interesting. I know to you, like Anthropic is doing the old school model, like Mother is their agency.
Yeah.
And they're coming out, and I'm not saying that their work is punchy or whatever, because that's interesting.
But I mean, Mother has her reputation. Yeah. I mean, you when you say Mother, I'm like, okay, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
It'll be smart.
And there's punch there, and there's a little like removal from the bubble where they're like, those new ads they put up for Super Bowl, it's like ads are coming to AI, not cloud.
Yeah.
I'm not saying someone at Anthropic couldn't have made that, but it does feel like someone who's not in that world is like looking at the world and be like, ooh, I know what to say. Like, yeah. And I do wonder if someone who's that tight in-house or in the scene could have that level of like perspective. Maybe. I don't know what OpenAI Super Bowl spot's going to be. I'm so curious to see how they're going to react to that swing from Anthropic. I think it's so interesting that Anthropic is swinging, that people are starting to do it, and that people are starting to pick their lanes. It's like culturally, like, what does each AI company stand for? But I do think it'll be an interesting, and OpenAI works with Isle of Any, a small indie shop in New York, made by old Droga guys, and they are fucking so talented. They're design at heart, brilliant creatives. They do New York Times stuff. Amazing little shop. But it's not like, to my knowledge, it's not like full service, like creative, project manager, strategist, decks, It's like, they're like, more nimble than that. So OpenAI isn't full in-house yet. They're still relying on like production partners and companies like Isle of Any. But I don't think to the extent that Anthropic is leaning on like Mother. Yeah. So it'd be interesting.
I'd love to know how AI has affected your creative process.
Yeah, I mean, funny thing, like I did this spot for Under Armour with Wes Walker, good friend, amazing director. Did this 2.5, 3 years ago. So we did this AI spot that we made with Under Armour, and it got like, look up Under Armour AI spot, like the amount of, it was like the first spot made with AI. And it's not amazing, but it's pretty good. But it wasn't just made with AI, it was like effects and things. And we were just like, basically like Wes and I were like, let's just bring, and it was with Tool, like, let's just bring AI into the work stream the same way you would visual effects. People like, it got not like panned from the work, but it was like one of the first AI spots, and people were so afraid and so fucked. It just became this like, so I remember I woke up one day and I saw a text from Wes being like, hey man, if you want me to take your name off this, that's fine. I'm like, what? What's going on? And again, the spot's good. It's unreal. I'm proud of it. Now everyone's all about it. Like, but at the time people were so afraid of AI and creative. And it's funny how that is so not the case anymore. I think it's now just like, it's like anything else, like an all visual effects shitty CG spot, not great. An all AI shitty spot, not great. Using it as another tool, like you would like post or CG or mix or things like, or color grade, like it's a way to enhance ideas. Great. I think for me personally, like I was just talking to a buddy last night, like it is such a good researcher. It is so good just to be like, you can't know everything, but we all know like specifics are good. Like I was writing some like champagne headlines for somebody. And I'm like, I don't know dick about champagne. But I kind of know I need to talk about how champagne can be used in ordinary ways, not always for like big celebratory moments. I know that's what I need to figure out. And I don't know dick about that. AI can make that a real easy conversation. Like if you treat it right, you're like, it's like talking to the smartest strategist ever. And you just talk to them. Sometimes I'll be driving in my car and I'll do like the audio and speak to it. I'll speak to either ChatGPT or Claude or one of them, or Gemini. And literally you can just be like, wait, I don't understand. How does a TPU work? Or, okay, how's that different than GPU? Okay, who uses them more? What's more expensive? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And literally it's like, and I think our world of advertising, we're like every few months you're working on something totally different.
Yeah.
On your drive to work, you can basically like have a little 20-minute talk with the smartest coffee person in the world, the smartest engineer in the world, the smartest runner in the world, and just ask them questions and get answers. That's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting time across the industry. I think more and more stuff's going in-house, which is cool. But I think there's also more and more shops that do interesting stuff. And I think it's like, I think the hybrid thing's going to be, interesting. I think I think the people who do it right are going to, make good stuff and also like probably save money.
Well, I saw a diagram someone posted where, they were looking at it like Legos, like a traditional agency. You've just got the big flat Lego. You do everything all the time and you bill everything, whether you're doing it or not. But more and more companies might take the 2-bump strategy Lego and then pair it later on, with a 3-bump media Lego, but they don't have to use it all the time. They can mix and match. I always thought that was a pretty good analogy for where we're going.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's right. And I think it's like sometimes it's just like you just need the right roster.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, who are like if I'm building my own in-house thing, like who do I need? Like based on what we make and how often we make it in our budgets and things, like who do I need? Like who are my like 6 to 8, like, maybe it's a strategist, maybe it's a producer. I don't know. Like who we're the core. And then you're like, all right, they're my production partners. They're my writers. They're my art directors. That's my design shop. Like I would get real, and then build little machines for each project sometimes, rather than that flat model of like, this is the thing that does everything. Because sometimes you're like, this ain't writing heavy. This ain't concept. This is design heavy. So, and then it gets financial. So you're like, okay, well, I want to spend 80% of my money on a design shop because I know there's not going to be a lot of writing and there's not a lot of production. That's where it's going, writing. Or it's like, hey, look, I know that this is going to live or die by music. So let's get a music supervisor in here. Let's do this. Let's get, like, some of it is also the boring financial allocation.
Yeah. Well, Adam, I got a bonus question for you. I asked this to all my guests. Nothing to do with anything that we've been talking about. But if you were in an airport right now, you could hop on any plane going anywhere. Time and money aren't factors. Where would you go? And I'll give you a domestic destination and an international one.
International, I'd go back to Tokyo. Just 'cause it's my favorite place in the world, and it's always good.
Had you been before you went, by the way?
No.
So just a place you fell in love with?
Yeah, working there, living there. You're just like, this is great. This is a good time. And then domestic, I'm going to go Alaska, just because I've never been.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would you do there?
You know what? I want to be like, snow, glaciers, things, northern lights, all that stuff. But also like, I just kind of want to see, like, it feels like it's still like kind of the weird Wild West out there to some extent, the things. And just like the fishing industry just seems so like badass, like, and so just not me. Like it's all just like just to feel humbled and like look silly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Adam, again, this has been great. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat. Really loved this conversation. Thanks for giving us all your insights.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much.
That's it for this episode of Let's Bring It In. Huge thanks to Adam Koppel, former creative director at places like OpenAI and Wieden+Kennedy Tokyo. If you want to hear more conversations with creative leaders from places like Tony's Chocolonely, Dude Wipes, Duolingo, Yeti, NASA, Liquid Death, and more, visit letsbringitin.com. Our theme music was composed by Nick Patronella. You can find more of Nick's work on Vimeo. As always, thanks to you for listening. Let's Bring It In is a production of Barnes Creative Bank at barnescreativebank.com.